Hi Tauruses, so this is your reading for June 2014. We're going to try to cover home, work, and relationships. Relationships come in all forms. They come in the form of partnerships. Partnerships come in the forms of siblings, parents, spouses, friends, coworkers, so keep that in mind. The monthlies are basically based on self. It's my abilities, right? Like I'm pretty limited in the way that I can do things due to the factor of free will, right? I don't believe in interfering with free will. So also I got Aquarius and I have some Pisces. So my Pisces sits in, it's spelled Pallas. So I'm basically restricted in the way I can do things, right? Like, and I do things a little bit different because Aquarius is different. Pisces is quite out there. I'm a Sag Sun with a Sag Mercury. That doesn't help, you know, like the only sane person I got in me is my Virgo rising, and she's got her handful with the squad that she was handled or given. So let's see what we get for the month of June. Just cleaning the cards there. Gotta wait for the energies to be interrupted. Sorry, you guys, that yours is later. I do this voluntarily, right? Like, this is not a business of mine. So, my sister came over. She's a Leo sun, so she slept over for 2 days. We had some fun. She's my younger sister. She's turning 29 this August. Cards don't seem to want to come out here, you guys. What's going on? There we go. Okay, so I'm going to pull all the cards and then we'll get into it. We'll see what we can find. It's just easier when I pull them all. So for the first card we have is the Star. It's a good card. I bought these cards because they remind me of like Merlin, King Arthur, the Hobbit, and the Rings. The next card we have is the Knight of Swords. We have the Three of Wands. The Three of Pentacles. We have the Queen of Wands. We have the Strength card. We have the Seven of Swords. We have Justice. And then we have the World coming in. Alright guys, so let me just get tuned into the cards here. Alright, so what we have coming in for your relationships, the energies, the universe, powers that be, whatever you want to believe in, is for the month of June is the Star. So that's hope, renewal. So in relationships, they come in all forms, right? So they interfere, like everything intertwines with each other. So like what the cards are saying with the Seven of Swords here, this is the energies that are coming in from the universe and that you're not really going to be able to do anything about, but they want you to know about it, to work on it. And like I said, my energies are I'm limited to what I can give you, right? Because there's free will. So I'm not like I got Saturn in my sign still. Like I'm not gonna mess with the powers that be if there's powers that be, you know. Or that what the cards are telling you is with the Three of Pentacles here, like you need to work on communication. This is the Seven of Swords, so there's an avoidance that you guys have in your communication style and relationships. It's the cards are saying that you need to renew it, right? Like, so what the cards, you're gonna need you're gonna need strength to do this, and you're gonna have to come out from, like, it is based on communication here. You guys got a lot of communication that the cards are talking about. You're gonna have to switch it up. We have the Queen of Wands here, so these cards are based on a lot of mythology. So the story with this card here, if you can see, there's a rooster in the card up top there. She's got this like a box down here, and it's hiding something. And what it is the story goes, she's given a weapon, and the weapon is the only weapon that can kill the rooster. It's the only thing that can kill the rooster, but she was given it to protect it. And the story goes, like, this guy came along. It's mythology is really weird. I had to stop studying it because, like, it baffles you. It's like a weird story where you don't get all the details. You know what I mean? But this guy came. He went to this house. There's some girl he wanted that was up in the upstairs in the house, and these dogs were guarding the house. And he noticed the rooster, and he had to. He thought, well, okay, the only way I'm going to get to this girl that he wanted was to kill the rooster. But the only weapon that could kill this rooster, because it was a special rooster, it's up in a tree, right? Was the weapon that she protected. And she was given it to protect it because she was a wise woman. So this gentleman goes over to another guy, and he asks the guy, and he says to the guy, how do I get that weapon that she has? And the gentleman says to him, well, you need to give her something that is hard to get. It's hard to come by. So he asks him what he needs, and I can't remember what it was. It was like some sweet honeysuckle or something like that, something really weird. So the guy goes, okay, he goes out and he gets it, and he comes back to the woman, and he hands her this hard to find item, and he goes, can I have the weapon now, the tool? And the woman goes, no. And he goes, why? And because she knows that he's going to kill the rooster. And the story, somehow, in this story, it's what they needed was the feather from the rooster's tail. So the weapon was the only thing that could cut the feather and kill the rooster. And all they needed was the feather. And she knew that anybody that would come would kill the rooster instead of taking the feather, right? So what the card is basically saying is, like, it's as simple as communication. Like, things are, you could kill a relationship, or like with your family members, with siblings, with children, spouse, whomever it's concerned with. But what the cards are saying, it's like you're making things more difficult than they need to be, because we have justice here, right? So it's balancing the scales. It's you just need the feather. You don't need to kill the rooster, right? So it's as simple as communication. Like, if there's issues happening in the relationships and stuff, the cards are saying it's as simple as communication. Like, don't make things more difficult than they need to be. So that's, like, with the Seven of Swords here, that's not saying that somebody's cheating or anything, all right? Like, let's get that out of our heads here. What the cards are saying is that you're hiding issues that are coming up instead of expressing it in the moment, and that's going to build up, and then, like, the scales are going to get unbalanced, and you need to balance it. With the World here, it's saying that the world is basically like a clock. It's like tick, 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 tick. Like, it's like if you're avoiding stuff, you're like a clock, like ready to explode, is what it's saying, right? So, like, if you have passion and desire in you, you need to express that instead of hiding that. All right, like, but it's also saying your communication style needs to change as well, right? Like, you could be more focused on the appearance, like, so that means, like, appeasing the other person, right? So you're just agreeing with things for to keep the relationship on an even scale, right? And because this is a Libra card, Libras, they're based on partnerships, and that's what they do, right? But they're people pleasers, so they avoid their own personal needs, and then eventually the scales get off balance. So, like, to avoid that, with the Seven of Cards, to avoid it, you're gonna have to really, with the Three of Pentacles, work on a new communication style, and it's gonna take a lot of courage and strength to do it, right? So that means giving your children hugs and kisses, your husband hugs and kisses, your spouse hugging kisses when they're like leaving for work, doing small gestures for them, like washing the dishes every now and then. But it's like expressing yourself in the moment. So when an issue comes up, you have to express it in the moment, is what it's saying, right? Like there's a new hope and renewal, right? Like what's coming in at work is we have the Knight of Swords. Some of you guys could be traveling, right? With the Knight of Swords, the Queen of Wands, Three of Pentacles, the World. So some of you guys could be in the public eye somehow, you know, like, or you could even be a sales representative and you travel, or like social media person, or, you know, customer service, or something, you know, where you deal with public. Because the Queen of Wands is an extrovert, right? So like at work, if you want to get promoted and stuff, you're going to have to be more extroverted, right? Instead of introverted. So action oriented is what it's saying. But also with the, this is a Knight, right? So with the Knight, it's still working on communication style. Like this reading has a lot to do with communication. So it could be saying you need to put more passion and desire. You need to have more courage. Even on with the cards that you have, it's basically saying like to go inwards and find your true desire, to express your true self, right? Like that's what's going to balance the scales, is your true self here, right? You guys got a lot of positive energy coming through in your readings. I've really enjoyed Taurus's readings. Like regardless of what the cards show up, I always get this like really, and it's been like 3 months of like this really positive energy coming out from you guys. With the Queen of Wands, it's also asking for a promotion, right? Justice is saying be patient. Watch jealousy as well here, right? Like definitely watch your communication. What's coming in is Justice, and that's a balancing of the scales, right? So like if you put with the Queen of Wands here, the World, the Strength card, if you guys put yourself out there and really focus, you know, like not be scared or concerned of the opinions of others, right? Because the Queen of Wands doesn't care about the opinions of others. She does her own thing her own way, right? Like she understands she's on a journey, you know, like, and you have the a boat here. You got 2 boats, 3 wands, so you're on a journey, right? So it's also saying, okay, like because this woman here, when she's on her journey, picture a boat, she's on a boat, she's like in this card here, right, looking out. When the boat is stopped and allowing other people to come on their boat, all right, the Queen of Wands doesn't allow them to hold it up. It's either you're on the boat or off the boat, right? Like, because they don't park it at the dock, because they got places to go, people to meet, things to do, people to see, you know, like that they're active, they're go, right? Like they look out, like they don't care about the opinions of others. That's coming through here. You need to focus on yourselves here. You really need to come from your true needs, your true wants, expression of your passions, right? Like do it in a balanced way though, you know, with the Justice here, you got to be balanced, right? So if you're coming off too passionate, too strong with your communication, then we got to reevaluate that with the 7 of Swords here, right? Like because we need to be balanced in the way we communicate, right? Like that's an equal give and take. That's being understanding too of other people's emotional needs. So like be understanding of that, right? Like definitely apply for promotions if you have the opportunity to. The Queen of Wands, the 3 of Pentacles, the Star, that could be like you guys are, you know, into music and you have the opportunity if you're going out and you're doing more stage performances, if you got a band. Because the 3 of Pentacles, that's also like these guys are looking at their masterpiece, right? But like with the Queen of Pentacles, or the Queen of Wands, that's getting out there, putting yourself out there, going to more clubs, getting your band signed up to perform there, you know, like traveling even a bit, right? Like You might have to travel some distance to get into some performing places, you know, like you can't hide anymore though, you know, like you gotta get moving, you gotta put yourself out there. What we have coming in for home is the Three of Wands. You guys could be moving homes. If you're moving homes, you need to do some research. Some of you guys could be traveling too, like a long distance as well, it's saying here. So like some of you, if you do have a band or you're a public speaker, you could have a chance to perform somewhere at a distance, right? So start looking online and stuff like that. You could get into this is even saying if you have products in your own business and stuff, right? So it's saying like getting into flea markets, even if you have a store location on weekends, getting into flea markets, making up little business cards so people can take those cards, right? So with the world here, that's like expansion, like that's being able to, like when your cards are there, you're reaching a wider audience, right? So it's also going to conferences as well, like getting a booth in a conference as well. This could also mean that some of you guys, if you work for yourself, like going to those conferences and mingling, like there's something about like getting more out there. You need to be getting more out there. So like on Craigslist, there could be groups that are like at a distance that you could be going to a convention or something, you know, like, but you're going to be pushed into the public eye here. It's saying at home, you're going to have courage and strength to really tame your inner beasts too, right? Like that's what the strength card's about. So that's like, you got a snake in this card that's like biting, right? Like being too stubborn or being even too lenient, right? Like going back to this communication in the relationship sector is what we had there. If you focus on the communication, then that could transfer over to your home, right? But you're going to have to really tame the inner beast to do it, right? That and part of that is like courage comes from like opening up, not being afraid to be vulnerable, right? Like, because it's like a lot of people are scared to be vulnerable because they get hurt. But yeah, sure, but if you're not vulnerable, you're creating way more problems, right? You're sticking yourself in a situation that's just going to be like a clock. It's like a cycle. It just keeps replaying around over and over again. You know, it's like that mirroring effect. One person does something, the other person does it in the opposite way. So you guys just keep projecting back and forth. You're mirroring each other, right? You're doing the exact same thing, but in two opposite manners, right? So we need to, with the Justice card, we need to break that cycle, right? And it's going to take courage and audacity. Like you're going to have to know when to speak up and know when not to, like, to give yourself 5 seconds to correct the manner that you used to be doing it in, right? Like, because the sooner it's dealt with in the moment, it's saying deal with things in the moment when they come up, not hold them in. Expressing yourself in like a fair manner, right? Being diplomatic about it, seeing the other person's perspective, and then communicating. You know, you got to consider both sides here. But you definitely have to work on seeing from a different perspective, is what the cards are saying. Okay, so what it's saying not to do in relationships is the Ace of Wands. So that's like, again, going back to not completely starting over with your communication style, but it's a new mindset that you have to have, right? We don't want it to verbally be coming out, but it's the mindset. So again, going back to balancing, seeing it from the other person's perspective, right? The Ace of Swords, it's a younger person on the card, right? So it's like not getting too carried away, like, so it's like if you feel like something's being withholding from you, the cards are saying not to just go like running in and like slashing your sword or coming to assumptions. You know what I mean? The cards are saying to look at it from another perspective, right? Because if your partner may be just hiding the way that they feel, they're afraid to express it. That could be stemming from some sort of childhood issue, right? if there's emotional manipulation happening, you need to examine where that's coming from, right? Like, because that might be that person was taught it from their parents and they don't know another way, right? Like, they're hiding their emotions and feelings. They feel like they have to do that because then they become emotionally manipulative because they can't express themselves. They're not, if they feel like if they don't do that, they're not going to get what they want, right? And it's like, so we got to be fair here, right? Like, there's compromise in relationships, whether it's with your parents, your siblings, your grandparents. There's compromise that you have to have. We have to consider both perspectives, right? Everybody's unique. They have their own way of thinking, their own perspective, and they're all going through their own experiences, right? So we have to respect that, right? Nine of Chalices is coming at work, and this is what not to do. So this is like not gloating, not getting too comfortable, not partying too much, and not it's definitely saying that not to get too comfortable, you know what I mean? There's Nine of Cups is overindulgent. It's like you need to at work, the card is basically saying, like, don't think you're number one, right? Like, because then life's going to come in and smack you down a little bit and and just remind you who's in charge, and that's the universe, the powers that be, your life, right? Like, it'll smack your ego and your pride down a little bit. So it's saying to do it in a balanced way. Don't allow your emotions to affect your work, right? So, like, don't get over emotional at work. Don't let work become don't let work affect your emotions either. It's what it's saying. But definitely don't gloat and stuff like that at work. Try to keep it humble. You know what I mean? You got a lot of powerful cards coming in at work. You want to. It's saying, like, to keep it humble, right? Like, that's what's gonna push you ahead and get you that promotion, is being grounded. And Tauruses, you guys are pretty good at that, right? So, like, keeping the scales balanced here. It's very important, right? So your mental, emotional, your passion, your desires, your needs, your wants, we got to keep that all balanced, right? That's what it's saying. We got to keep it in check this month. I have a north node Taurus, so I got to learn how to develop into a Taurus. We have the King of Pentacles here. So what that's saying is, at home, not to focus too much on the material aspects. At home. So this is saying, like, to get out more with and have a little more fun. Don't be too he's also like a mathematician, I get with this card, like, you know, which means he's pretty focused on the details and stuff like that. This month it's saying to with the world, the energy that you're gonna get in and it wants you to do is to go out there and to really enjoy life a little bit, taking your family out to the beach, having a beach day, even going to the park, taking them to the swimming pool. It wants you to really get out there and do more things, because the Pentacles guy, he stays home a lot, right? Like, he's more focused on the material aspect of things, and it's saying not to do that this month at home. You got to be more open, more expansive, getting outside your comfort zone a little bit with people at home. Yeah, the Seven of Pentacles is coming up in when I want to know more about your work. It's saying, like, you need to really, like, you're still planting the seeds, like, you still need to nurture your plant, like, so that's watering it, being patient with it, picking off the bad leaves. There's still adjustments that you have to make. Don't move too forward too quickly, because you are going to get those energies. It could get you emotionally off balance, so you need to be, like, with the Seven of Pentacles, like, standing back a little bit, reevaluating things, you know, like evaluate things at work, and maybe you can suggest to your boss some things too, right? Like, and that could get you noticed a little more. But stepping back and noticing things and doing it in the proper manner, because you do have the younger swords energies here, so you can get carried away with it too quickly, right? Like, you need to be grounded this month. Definitely going out in nature is going to help you guys, though. All right, you guys, hopefully that helped you out, and I will talk to you mid-month. Ciao for now.